Economy of the First Republic is remembered as gold era of this country. During the first 20 years, newly formed Czechoslovakia managed to establish itself as a progressive, democratic, internationally recognized European state. Furthermore, economic prosperity and public enthusiasm brought a great flourishing of culture, art, design and architecture. The political system of Czechoslovakia demonstrated considerable stability in the interwar period, when it was the only one country in Central Europe which resisted the totalitarian tendencies of various parties and to preserve its democratic character. The new nation had a population of over 13.5 million. Through economy of the Czech countries, Czechoslovakia was among the 15 most developed countries in the world. While the largest percentage of the Czech population was employed in industry and lived mainly in cities, Slovakia and Ruthenia were dominated by the rural population, making a living from agriculture. It had inherited 70 to 80% of all industry of the Austro-Hungarian Empire, which was in the past gathered in the Austria and Czech lands to purpose defense strategic manufactories against Turks. Czechs owned the porcelain and glass industries. More than 40% of all its distilleries and breweries, the Škoda works of Pilsen, which produced armaments, locomotives, automobiles and machinery, and the chemical industry of North Bohemia. Czechoslovakia never managed to completely detach economically from the former monarchy. The economy was strongly export-oriented. The national income per capita ranked Czechoslovakia on 13th place among European countries. In the interwar period, Czechoslovakia was among the top 10 in milk production, electricity, iron and steel production, and also automobile production and artificial silk. 17% of all Hungarian industry that had developed in Slovakia during the late 19th century also inherited the First Republic. Czechoslovakia was one of the world's 10 most industrialized states. The Czech lands were far more industrialized than Slovakia. In Bohemia, Moravia and Silesia, 39% of the population was employed in industry and 31% agriculture and forestry. Most light and heavy industry was located in the Sudetenland, and in Slovakia, 17.1% of the population was employed in the industry, and 60.4% worked in agriculture and forestry. Carpathian Ruthenia was essentially without industry. In the agricultural sector, a program of reform introduced soon after the establishment of the Republic. 1/3 of all agricultural land and forests belonged to few aristocratic landowners, mostly Germans or Germanist Czechs, and Hungarians, and the Roman Catholic Church. Old Austro-Hungarian noble families owned in Czechoslovakia huge plots of land. For example, the Schwarzenberg family, 248,000 hectares, the Palffy family, 106,000 hectares, the Andrassy family, 79,000 hectares. One of the most serious problems that Czechoslovakia had to deal with was the unfavorable economic situation. Czechoslovakia abolished noble titles and status privileges, agrarian reform. In 1919 was published a law which occupied arable land from large landowners who had above 150 hectares. However, the reform took place slowly and infrequently, was accompanied by the corruption scandals. The place improvement of the situation there was supply failure, rising prices, the flourishing of the black market and usury. Black Thursday stopped increasing of economy in a state. Production in Czechoslovakia was oriented towards export, which experienced a sharp decline during the economic crisis. The production of enterprises fell by more than a third. Unemployment rose sharply. In 1933, there were almost 1 million people who do not have a job. It was every third worker. In the second half of 1930s, a gradual revival of production began. Construction of roads, railways and most buildings and massive defensive fortifications, which was situated near the borders of Germany and Hungary, due to the strategic location from the German borders. At this time, Czechoslovakia invested to defense. New armaments companies were established in Považie. In Baťovany, Tomáš Baťa started show production. After the World War II began decreased Czechoslovak economy. And after the decades, Germany, Austria, Finland and more countries outdistance this country. But many people have good experience, they remember this country. This country was well known because of good quality of products which were everywhere in the world.